Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Danielle, aka Stitcherista, here on YouTube, and we're trying a stitch with me today. I am trying to do this before work. My job starts today at 10:30, and people have been asking for a stitch with me, and when I cleaned out my crafting area those many months ago, I got rid of like all of my bendy tripods. So the only tripod I have left that's overhead is one that has a base. So I was sitting here trying to figure out how am I going to record this because I have a different setup than before. So I'm hoping this will work and be close enough. I'm trying to see what you guys are seeing. Yeah, you can see my stitching. I mean, it's not perfect, but let me see if I can scoot it back a little bit. Whoa. Yeah, in all the years that I've been doing this, I've yet to find the perfect setup for recording overhead. There are people that do it and it looks so good, and I don't know how they do it. But we're going to go with this. You will be able to see my work a little bit, so that's going to have to be good enough. So yesterday I had off, and I barely got any stitching done. As you can see, all I really got done was I stitched part of the ghost and his eyes. Well, the ghost is a girl, I guess, because she has hair bow, which I'm getting ready to stitch that right now. So yesterday, my stepdaughter and her boyfriend came over for dinner, and we were all sitting downstairs, and Bill had planned to make tacos. Now, I have to preface this by saying when Bill makes tacos, I normally help him because he finds it very stressful, because he's trying to, according to him, put the shells in the oven to heat up, cook the ground beef, get out all the fixings, and he also makes taco rice. So he finds it very stressful. So I usually try to help him. Well, yesterday at about 4:45, I was waiting for my job today to confirm. And it did. So I came up here at about 4:45, and I told him, I said, I'll be about 10 minutes. I just got to do the prep for today. Well, for me, doing prep involves printing out paperwork, which is usually about 5 or 6 pages. And when I went to print, my black ink wasn't printing. And when I looked at the printer, it said the ink was out. Okay, well, I have an HP printer, and I have that program, that instant ink program, where your printer automatically connects to their server, and you pay a flat monthly fee, and they will send you ink when it's time. And I had a black ink cartridge. So I proceeded to install the cartridge, and they make you print a test page. Well, the black still wasn't printing, and I'm like, I didn't know what the problem was. And so I'm trying to go through the troubleshooting, and it said to clean the print cartridge, and I did that for 2 cycles, and it still wasn't working. So now my next step is to go through the HP live chat, because now I feel like it's the cartridge and I need a new cartridge. Like, I have to have them send me a new one. This one's defective. So I proceed to get on there and explain all that, and okay, they're going to send me a cartridge. Well, now this has been like 40 minutes and I haven't done any prep. I've done 0 because I've been fooling with the printer issue. So luckily, I have another printer out in my crafting area that I had bought to print out my coloring pages. So now, and I bought that one before I bought the one I have now. I used to have a laser jet in my office, and that's not good for printing out coloring pages. So I bought an inkjet. Well, I wound up buying another inkjet like 2 months later for my office. Now I gotta do, okay, same color. Now I'm working on the O in October. So the printer so I printed out my preparation paperwork. I printed it on my other printer that was out in my crafting area. So I go out there and I grab the pages off the printer and I go into where Bill is in the kitchen, because the kitchen's directly across from the crafting area. And I said, man, I'm so glad that I have a second printer. And he says, why? What happened? So I start to tell him, okay? And it's not like it's a quick story. You know, there's steps involved. So in the middle of me telling him, he just interrupts me to say something about dinner. And one of my biggest pet peeves, besides not listening to when I'm talking, is interrupting me. It's rude. It's rude. So his question was like a yes or no. So I just said, okay. And I went to walk out of the kitchen because I was like, I'm not telling you the rest of the story. Forget it. And he says, what? Tell me. And I said, no. I said, it's not a big deal. He's like, Jesus Christ, fuck this. And so it like started a fight. And so I go back in my office and I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, I'm going to be the bigger person here and I'm going to go out there and apologize. Because that's one thing that I've learned about Bill over the years. He doesn't apologize for stuff like that. Well, I think because he thinks he didn't do anything wrong. So I went out there and I said, look, I don't know what problem you have with me. I said, if I did anything, I'm sorry. And he said, you know, you should have just told me the rest of your story. And I said, oh no, he made it sound like you came out here and started telling me and then you got mad and walked out. No. I said, I started to tell you the story and you interrupted me to say something about the tacos. And he goes, oh. And he says, well, you see me here trying to do like a bunch of stuff. I told you he gets very stressed when he's trying to do the tacos. And he said, well, next time, just don't try to tell me something when I'm doing something. Okay. So I asked him if he needed any help, and he told me no, because he was obviously upset at me. And so I just came back to my office and finished the prep, and yeah, I don't know, and he has done that more than once. Like, he's interrupted me a lot, and I've just started to really notice it, like, over the past couple months. It's very rude. I just find it very upsetting. And you know, when someone interrupts you, think about it. They're not really paying attention to what you're saying. They're thinking about what they're thinking about, right? I feel like it is one of the worst communication errors that you can do with somebody. So, yeah, I was just irritated. And, you know, he's off all this week. So we got up this morning and, like I said, my job is starting at 10:30. And he went right outside this morning when we got up. So, because I told him, I said, you know, I realize you're going to lose the time. I said, but aren't you going to be bored here? You know, but that's on him. Because I'm working today, tomorrow, Thursday. We don't have a job yet for Friday, but something could very well come in for Friday. But yeah, I was just like, I hate being at odds with him with stuff like that. And I came back in my office and I'm like, why am I always the one that you know, feels like I should be the one apologizing or that I'm in the wrong. I'm like, I wasn't in the wrong there. And then I'm thinking to myself, well, what am I always bitching to him? Like just always complaining? You know, when something goes wrong for him, you know, you got to sit down and listen to it. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I mean, it was enough. And I knew it was because he was making tacos. I knew it because he is always so stressed. So I'm like not going to suggest that for dinner anymore. My idea when they were coming over was to go to Chick-fil-A and get takeout because we haven't done that in a while. But then he had suggested the tacos, and I mean, in all intents and purposes, I was planning to help him do it. I did not realize, obviously, that I was going to have printer issues. Because after dinner, after I cleaned up and everything, I had to come back upstairs and do the prep. I had to finish it. I didn't finish it before dinner. But yeah, you know, I don't like conflict with anyone. And I think that stems from my childhood because childhood was just fraught with conflict. And you just learned to shut up, you know, and be quiet or ignore it. And so I feel like that's somewhat ingrained in me, you know, to be somewhat of a people pleaser. And um, it's not good. It's not a good trait to have cultivated, in my opinion. Um, because it is so entirely, I'm telling you, it is so entire. My mom feels the same way. There's a friend of theirs that is in my stepfather's band, and this guy has the attention span of like a gnat. Like every time I've sat down to talk to him, wait a minute, I gotta count here for a second. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, down 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, down 1. When you start talking to him, he will just start talking about something completely unrelated right in the middle of your conversation, or he will be looking around the room. It must drive his wife bonkers. He's married. And Mom said they had went to the funeral of a family friend back in December. And she said he was there, and she's like, I was talking to him at the table, and he was just like looking all over the place. And she said, I just stopped talking, and he never asked me, like, what were you saying? She's like, so I knew he wasn't paying attention. I don't know, I just find it so incredibly rude. I really do. You know, when someone is telling me something, especially Bill, like when we're talking at night, I will put my phone down. I am paying attention. I am asking questions. I don't know. Do you guys have experience with that? Like, yeah. But okay, I didn't want to make this too terribly long because, like I said, I do have to start work here in a second, or in a couple minutes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But I wanted to do a little stitch with me and try to figure this out with recording overhead. And like I said, I hope that this works. It's going to work good enough because I don't want to purchase another tripod just for, I was thinking of getting a tripod to clip to the Lowry light bracket, but you have to be careful with weight on that because I don't know if it would just be too heavy and it wouldn't hold it, because remember I tried to clamp the light pad thing to it and it was too heavy for it. So I'm afraid a tripod with my phone on it, because if I had something that came over, I could like have it like right here, but this is going to have to suffice. And I will do it's easier for me to do a stitch with me when I have something to talk about that I don't have to read from a piece of paper. So I will do one of these again for sure. So yeah, I picked out curtains yesterday for my new crafting area. Like I said, I really got really far ahead of myself with that. Way too far ahead because it's months out easily. And someone had commented and said I should put the book, my desk by the window. That way I can look out of the window. First of all, it's facing the neighbor's house. Don't really care to look over there. But second of all, where the window is and the way the desk is, it wouldn't make any sense to put it there because the desk has to be in a corner because the top of the desk, like there's like a long shelf that's connected to the end of it. So it makes sense to put the desk in a corner. So I'm not too worried about it being in front of the window. I think it'll be just fine. And I actually went in there yesterday and measured like all around. So I'm really hoping how I see the room come together in my mind's eye, that it comes together like that, because everything is going to fit, like I said, how I went and measured. And someone had even suggested putting a bookshelf in the closet. And I don't think I'm going to be able to do that either, only because I want to be able to put both of my stitching stands in there, my Stitchmate and the Stitch Smart stand, because right now they're in the corner of the bedroom. And if I put them in there, I'm not going to be able to put a bookshelf in there. So I think I'm just going to, like I said, things may change once I get everything in there and then really can see how it's going to be. And obviously, I can change whatever I want, right? But, yeah, so that's what's happening with that. And yeah, I picked out, like teal curtains, sheer curtains, because I wanted the light to come through. Sheer curtains with, like leaves embroidered on it. They look really pretty. And people really liked them. I read the reviews. People really liked them. So, fingers crossed. Like I said, long way away. And Bill somewhat agreed to paint it pale yellow like I had wanted. He was for painting it white, but he's like, well, you're probably going to wind up marking up the walls anyway in the next couple years, he said, so we'll have to repaint it again when we move anyway. But right now the room is a very pale pink, and the closet and the closet doors and all that need to be repainted anyway. But yeah, if it ever comes to fruition, I think it'll be a great space for me. I look forward to it very much. But okay, I'm going to end here, guys, so I can try to get this up there before my job starts. I got to open up my software and do all that. So as always, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section below, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.